welcome to Primetime Muscle. I'm Tim Wilkins, joined as always by IFBB pro judge and super promoter Tarek El-Gedi, and the one and only real deal, our styling and profiling Chris Cormier.
You're feeling me out there, y'all. Are you feeling the big dog?
Tarek?
Well, all I have to say.
Are you feeling the big dog?
All I have to say is this could be the final time you guys see all of us. this type of outfit it smells like getting fired. We could be gone after this episode.
Hey, I like it, man. Don't you like it, Tim?
I love it. I didn't know Beverly Hills had 3X.
Hey, bro.
Nice.
Oh, you feeling it?
I like it a lot. That's money.
A little copper, a little sequence. You know what I'm saying? You feel me?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Let's go with it. Let's go with it.
Let's get into our first topic. Today we're talking about coaches, gurus, whatever you're calling them nowadays, and we're talking about historically or even in today, who is the best coach? Guys, we're looking at Hani Rambod, George Farah, Chris Aceto, Neil Hill, Chad Nichols. Who are these guys? Palumbo. We can't leave Palumbo off this. Who's the best coach?
It's a great question. Let's first isolate what is a coach and what is a trainer. Charles Glass, Chris Cormier, those guys are trainers that will get you to the gym and physically exercise with you guys. These guys, they have the ability to do that, but their expertise is the protocol, is the diet, and a lot of them, I give credit to a lot of these guys, they also mentor the competitors. Like Chris, he mentors Breon Ansley in his career. Now, talking about these guys, you're looking at George Farah. Just this year, George Farah is hot.
Blessing, he's got
Andrew Jacked. He's hot. You know, he was the guy that got Branch Warren to look his best. He got Dexter Jackson to continue to win these shows. So George Farah is one of those guys. Hani Rambod, he's known for his conditioning, right?
Well, his competitors are.
Yeah, his competitors are. Well, he'll take credit himself for being conditioned too. But Hani is one of the guys that he's really good at conditioning. I know Hani personally, and he's one of the guys that if he gets an athlete, he rarely misses the conditioning. And then you got to talk about Chris Aceto, who's also super hot. He's got guys winning shows everywhere, guys moving up. And then you look at Chad Nichols. Chad Nichols had Ronnie Coleman, right? And now he got Big Ramy to win the Olympia. He might be the greatest. It's a great question. Neil Hill, what he did with Flex Lewis, and that consistency was incredible. And there's a few guys. Dave Palumbo knows bodybuilding maybe more than anybody. He's also a great coach. I'm going to have to say that this year, the hottest guy is George Farah.
Well, I think George Farah, they all have different styles. I think that's the biggest difference in these guys. George has a style, he don't like to give a lot of food. I mean, he's a little bit lesser on the protein consumption.
I talked about this the other day, and some of these guys are up in the 400, 500, and 600 grams a day range. And George has some of the biggest guys in the business doing 180 to 220 grams. Andrew Jacked, some of these guys, and I will say this, and I'm going to let you continue, Chris. This is really important. A lot of these guys are bro science. Mind you, they're the best at bro science. George has a doctorate in this stuff. So if he's telling you too much protein is just getting flushed out or getting toxic in your system, it's probably something to listen to.
Yes, and he pays very close attention to detail. I'm going to say Chad was one of my coaches. Chris Aceto was one of my coaches when I was doing my thing. They both are very good. I got them neck and neck. With some of the best. Chris pays a lot of attention to detail. He pays a lot. He wants to see tons of photos. Probably he's sending 4 or 5 photos a day to this guy, and he's looking at every single one of them, critiquing every single one, seeing what he needs to change or what needs to be different. Chad, he can see in the future what's going to happen with what you send him as far as your photos or whatever, your check-ins. He's going to have it all done from week to week, a few weeks at a time. So when I was working with him, I didn't really send in photos, but he knew I was going to put in the work. He put the protocol together. He knew I was going to do what I got to do, and then we got to see what's happening 2 weeks out.
I'm going to ask you both this question because you're a really hands-on guy. How effective is it to send in the photos versus having somebody there with you watching the muscle move in a movement or posing with you after a workout, how much more important is it to be there with the guy?
Well, it's a lot easier to make an adjustment if you're seeing them face to face. A camera can't get all the different cuts that you see, because I know a lot of competitors try to get the best light, the best everything to try to send to the coach. But it's never going to pick up all the little detail of the human body.
There is something about gym locker room light that's the best of the best, and sometimes your coach needs to see the worst.
Absolutely. I think that if you are a great coach, you just don't see your guy one day before the show. You know, you spend some time during the season with these guys. You know, I see the relationship that Hani had with Phil Heath. I see the relationship that George has with Blessing. Chris Aceto is a guy that's heavily involved in Chad Nichols. A lot of, Neil Hill was Flex Lewis' best friend. So these guys had direct contact. I believe is more than pictures. You got to be there because remember, you're also checking their mindset, right? Is this guy focused? Is he having insecurities? Let me talk to him. It's more than just the body. You're training somebody's mind to be the best in bodybuilding.
Well, this is an interesting question because there is a big difference between being the trainer or the jockey of the thoroughbred who's on track to win the Kentucky Derby, or getting that new horse and saying, I'm going to take you from 0 to 60, or someone that's sitting in 3rd to 8th their entire career and making that guy a winner. Who are those trainers in your mind, or those gurus?
I've seen Chris Aceto take a person from just a baby and bring them on up into a great champion. I would say Chad was a mentor of Hani. Chad was a mentor of Hani. I don't know if you know that, young guy. But I've been around when Hani was just coming to different rooms with Chad. He came to my room back, I forgot the year, I was up in San Francisco, and he was just coming and listening to what Chad had to say and what Chad was going to do. So I would say Chad has to still be the master over Hani. I mean, he's brought Ronnie to greatness. No one's ever.
That's a heck of a record.
He has Big Rami in the stable right now. He's brought women. I mean, Kim Chevesky was a beast in her own right, and and then like I said, he went on and helped Linda reach her best look also.
So Chad's way up there. Who else is in each stable right now? You're pretty familiar with, like we said, George has Andrew Jack and Blessing, who are definitely going to be in the Olympia this year. And a quick conversation with George, he said they will shake up the top 5 this year. One or both of those guys will shake up the system.
Well, Tim, I'm also going to add this. These guys don't like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm not like Chris Cormier that, backs down and doesn't have the courage to say the truth, because this is just the facts. All these guys, they lie. They lie when they say they don't recruit athletes. They plain lie, okay? They want to train the Mr. Olympias, right? I guarantee you, if Chris Bumstead walks around, those guys will lift their skirts so fast and say hi to Chris Bumstead. They're great recruiters, okay? They love recruiting some of the top athletes. It's part of their job. If you're not, all these guys are great recruiters, okay? They want to train the top athletes, okay? So with that being said, part of being a great coach is being a great recruiter.
So now, as a new hobby I'm going to have backstage at my Olympia pay-per-view booth, I'm going to have to wait for Chris Bumstead to walk by and see how many coaches are lifting their skirts when Chris comes.
They all do. They all do. Do you think when Ronnie Coleman was winning the Mr. Olympia, those guys are not saying, Ronnie, hey, let me know if you need anything. I'm here for you. You got a fever, I'll be there in the pharmacy buying some NyQuil for you, okay?
So who does who Neil Hill has in his stable now? Who's Yoda watching?
So when I think of Neil Hill, I got to give a lot of credit in terms of his consistency with conditioning and consistency in mentoring competitors. Flex Lewis is one of the most beloved competitors, and he literally has made no mistakes in his career because mentally Neil Hill was there for him, right? He was a young guy that won the Olympia. He didn't go crazy. The consistency was there on the conditioning, on the body. He didn't suffer any major injuries while he was competing, and he was also mentally strong. I think Neil Hill is one of those guys that is very, very cerebral. He doesn't only work the body, but he works the mind as well.
That begs the question, you think of Flex Lewis, is he ever going to make that transition to the Open?
I think Flex,
he's done.
I think he's done.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's done.
I'm going to go as far as to say Phil Heath and Flex Lewis are retired.
Yeah, but Neil Hill is very hands-on. He has a lot of younger guys coming up that's not champions yet, but he's working with them. I mean, you just hear him yelling every other second. Sometimes he's a little sitting too close to me when I'm trying to write down notes on what I'm seeing, and you're hearing him, you see him running backstage, you're coming back to the front, coming backstage, and he's really hands-on, really super involved, and if you want that from a coach, then call up Neil for that.
Now, talking about Phil Heath, Hani recently said he thinks Phil could come back and retake the title. Not just come back, but come back and retake the Olympia title.
Well, I think you got to build that body back up, and you got to build, work the different areas that was suffering from before, and he possibly could. You can never doubt a champion like that.
What was that break between Arnold's win? I'm going to go ahead and kiss back up to Arnold now. Between Arnold's last win was what, 72?
75. And then he came back in 1980 and won in a very controversial. I personally, if I was there, I wouldn't have voted for him winning that show.
Nope.
No, just the facts, okay?
Just the facts.
We're losing followers. We're losing jobs. We're all going to be out of a job here.
Anymore.
It's over. This outfit started as bad, and now we're going down the drain. We're going to be working in Hong Kong, Tijuana, guys. It's over.
So 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
Well, each of these guys has someone incredible. Hani has a ton of big pros at this year's Olympia, as does George and Hani, Chad. That's going to be interesting to see who goes up. Anybody know who's coaching Lunsford right now?
Derek Lunsford is with Hani Rambod. Now, one of the things I want to mention is this. Training these guys is a lot of work. But, Chris mentioned something that it's critical. Do not tell me that you're training Ronnie Coleman and you're the greatest coach of all times, okay? Ronnie Coleman's odds to win are pretty high. You get Jay Cutler, and his odds to winning are very high. Talk to me about a guy who is a light heavy competitor at the USA's and Nationals, took 6th place, and now you got him to win. Okay, right. Don't just train the big guys. Train some of the guys that are amateurs that are just starting and put them over the top. I give a lot of credit to Hani Rambod because he trained my brother, and my brother was 10th as a middleweight, and he moved up from 5th as a light heavy, and then he placed 4th, 3rd. He won the class one time, and Hani was with him until he turned pro. So on that one, and Hani liked to say he was the pro creator. On that one, he really did a great job. Now, Chris Cormier disagrees. He thinks Hani just recruits great competitors.
All I said was he trains a lot of champions that are champions already.
No, you said he just recruits great competitors. Look at the camera right now and apologize to America.
I'm not apologizing to nobody.
You don't have the courage to say the truth.
I'm not apologizing to nobody.
You don't have the truth shall set you free.
No, baby.
You can't handle the truth.
No.
All right,
when you train someone that won the Olympia,
he's sweating right now. You're sweating right now.
That's my makeup, baby.
You're losing friends on this show. You're losing friends.
That's the light on the cheetah print.
Boy,
all right.
Come on.
We got to wrap this segment. We're going to take a break here. We'll come back with more primetime muscle and talking about who the biggest country for bodybuilding, fitness, physique, and bikini might be right now when we come back.
Tripping.
back with more Primetime Muscle, and we have, as always, Tarek and Chris with an interesting topic. Per capita, we're talking population, what is the best country for bodybuilding and all the other categories? And right now we're looking at Canada. Guys, we've got Ian Valliere, Laura Lee Chapados, Jennifer Dory, Antoine Vaillant, and of course, Chris Bumstead.
Right. America has been number one in the powerhouse for many years, almost like a Soviet Union type of powerhouse nation. But Canada is creeping up with some great athletes, not only just bodybuilding, but bikini and wellness, physique, classic.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't think Canada is creeping up. I think Canada per capita is the best country in terms of producing bodybuilding champions. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the population of Canada is not even 50 million people, and those guys have the Mr. Olympia in classic physique. They have Jennifer Dory winning the Bikini Olympia. The runner-up is Laura Lee Chapados from Canada. Ian Valliere has won 5 pro shows, going back to the Mr. Olympia. Antoine Vaillant won in Chicago. That's a lot of great champions for a country that doesn't have the population of United States, China, Brazil, India.
But Tarek, is there something to be said that they're all here in America?
That I was going to ask that question because a lot of them are making the move.
Well, Chris, I'm going to tell you this. They're coming to America because I think they want to be closer to business. But you can't just disregard the fact that these people are all Canadians. That can't be coincidence.
I wasn't disregarding the fact.
So what is it? Is it the fact that, you know, it's cold up there and no one may as well stay inside and train?
Cold as shit.
So I talked to Chris Bumstead. Who's the classic physique champion, one of the great athletes. And let me tell you, I went to film with him for Olympia TV. Let me plug Olympia TV. Subscribe right now. And he's a class act. And I asked him this question. I said, Chris, what's going on? And he said, Tarek, it's cold, like Chris said, and that triggers you to be in the gym. You're not really like playing outside. The gym can be your escape from the hard cold, right? And I think once these guys, Chris Bumstead, he recently moved to the United States. And Ian Valliere is the same thing. Once these guys are established and they won, then they move to the United States because it's better for business. But it's just like the Seattle bands, right? Everybody talk, why are all these bands coming from Seattle? Nirvana, Pro Jam. You don't know nothing about that, Chris. Let's get real. You know, it's because it was raining all the time, and those guys wanted to be inside of the garage playing. You got Microsoft there. You got all those guys. They're, you know, in front of the computer. If it's sunny in California, you're not going to get these bands. And I think there's that factor to Canada producing great bodybuilders.
Now, we're talking about Canadian bodybuilders. We're talking about the fact that they are moving here. Where they're going to sunny places, are they going to maintain that? It's like Rocky IV when he went to Siberia to train and get used to the elements and train rustic. Coming here, are they going to get soft?
Yeah, well, I think America is the best place to train to be a bodybuilder. You know, the food, the weather, you know, like Tarek said, the business, you know, the business of bodybuilding. A lot of Europeans are also they're migrating to America. I think it is definitely the mecca of countries. It's America, and that's where they want to be.
You got that? You got them coming to America, or they're going to Kuwait?
That's a really good point, Tim. You know, I have not been to Kuwait. Chris is the Kuwait expert. They call him there. Could you imagine him showing up with that shirt? They're like, Chris, we don't have brothels in Kuwait. You know what I mean? He wouldn't pass through the immigration. But anyways, he's the Kuwait expert. He knows everything about the anabolic chicken. What's up with Kuwait, Chris?
Well, the anabolic chicken, you know, coming out of Oxygen Gym, Beta Badai put that together. He also has, you know, 20 nutrition stores around the city of Kuwait. Also going to Abu Dhabi, also going to Dubai in May. He should be ready for a gym in Dubai also. So the Middle East is covered with Oxygen gyms. I mean, you have the gym itself has a janitor standing by in the bathroom. So when you use the bathroom, the guy is mopping up right behind you every time.
Is it a janitor or a spotter? Is it a spotter?
No,
Is it
it's
somebody
a
there to
janitor.
help?
It's a
All right.
janitor.
That's impressive.
So, Tarek, you can pee on the floor and someone's going to wipe it up for you.
No, Chris, I usually use the urinal, so I don't have that issue. I'm not
When you
quite sure your state of mind when you are on drugs, but even
So this how we doing it?
even if
That's how we do it?
You know, even if I'm intoxicated, I still know to urinate in the urinal.
And then they have specialists in the nutrition stores, and they know the total business of nutrition. They have spotters. They have people who, a lot of great trainers there. A lot of great bodybuilders from all over the world.
And all the best equipment.
All the best.
You said there was, 30 leg presses?
Yeah, there's 30 leg presses in one gym. There's equipment that I've never even seen or heard of before that they have. The Beta goes around the world hand picking a lot of these equipment.
Chris, be a little bit more specific. Sorry, Tim. Is there anything about access? Is there anything about access to a certain protocol?
Access to everything. The best food, the best protocol items that you're talking about. All of that is right there. You know.
But the training. One thing I heard is that they sleep. They sleep. Bodybuilding. Those guys are not doing anything but bodybuilding. When Brandon goes there, there is no distractions. You know, obviously he misses his family, but it's just the business of bodybuilding. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's 100%. Because they have an apartment building that's just say 20 yards away from the door of Oxygen Gym. That's the main one.
As a bodybuilder, that's a dream, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and all the food is fresh every day. They have, like I say, like 4 stories. They got all the masseuse, the whirlpool, the cold plunge, the jacuzzis, everything you need is right there.
It's a bodybuilder's make-a-wish.
And then the good thing to do is just to go to the movies or go to the mall. I haven't seen the whole mall at one time yet because you get so tired to go to one side of the mall to the next. I've never been to the other side of the mall yet. But I've been close.
We talked about you working on your cardio.
I've been close.
So I want to circle back to that shirt, Tarek, because I got to say, going to Kuwait, this is obviously Kuwait money that's getting. This is not a Target shirt. This is not Burlington Coat Factory. Who makes that shirt?
Actually, I got this. Where was I?
Brothel.com. Brothel.com.
But that's
Melrose. This is from Melrose.
That's a big money shirt right there.
This is from Melrose.
That's when sheiks are flying you over to train people in Kuwait.
Well, it's not my Gucci and it's not my Louis.
If you see a guy like that with a shirt like that in Las Vegas, you know he's got drugs and prostitution. That's the reality of it, okay? Let's not play around with it.
That's where the after party is. Follow that guy. That's the Pied Piper of happiness right there.
That's what we're doing here on Primetime Muscle.
Well, we are pretty much establishing by the amount of population, Canada is really churning out some of the top competitors, top Olympians. We're excited to see what each of them, even in their training in America now, we're excited to see what Canada's churning out.
And I also want to mention something. I want to give credit. The NPC worldwide now is everywhere. And I had a chance to judge shows in India, in Asia, in Europe, Romania. And I'm going to tell you, guys, we are going to be shocked by some of these competitors coming from abroad. Chris actually has a figure competitor from Korea, right? China. I'm saying, Tim, we're going to see
Baby Q.
Asian competitors invading the Olympia stage. The quality is going to be amazing. I went to India, and there was like 700 men's physique guys. They're like coming out of the subways, coming out of the shops. There's men's physique guys everywhere there.
The Indian and Korean men's physique and the Korean bikini. You got whoever.
They got small waists.
The tiny waist, and the men's physique guys, big wide shoulders, tiny waists. They could cross over. I saw a couple classic physique guys. Insane shapes.
We got to look at bodybuilding as a sport that genetics plays a huge role. And if you look at some of these Asian competitors, they have very small waist and tiny little joints. This is not something that happens with guys from Norway or Finland. Those guys have the ability to get huge. That's why when you go to a strongman competition, a lot of the guys are from that area, right? And what I'm saying is, we look at our bodybuilding right now, and we're looking at Canada, United States, Brazil, some Europeans. In the divisions where you don't require a lot of muscle mass, such as bikini and men's physique, we're about to see an Asian invasion.
Yes, they are bringing out, Tarek, a lot of information is getting around social media. It's a lot easier to get information from point A to point B around the world, and I think that has a lot to do with it.
Well, we've got the NPC worldwide, we've got the IFBB, which is international. If we want a shot against the Canadians, America, you're going to have to build that wall up top. Please like and follow our show, comment on the topics as well. Tell us what your favorite countries for bodybuilders are, and all across all the divisions. We'll see if Jennifer Dory and Chris Bumstead can defend their titles, and if any other Canadians can come in and step up, fill those spots, like Ian Valliere, who's looking to break more than just the top 5 at this year's Olympia, December 16th to the 18th. In Las Vegas. We'll find out that, and then we'll find out even more when we come back with Primetime Muscle.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
And it's our final segment on Primetime Muscle, and it's a good one. Potentially some controversy, guys. Has Phil Heath been unappreciated by the bodybuilding fans due to social media scrutiny and just the feel of a guy who's just not out there competing anymore?
Absolutely, 100%. There is no doubt about it. Every freaking loser in the internet that wished to have the body, the fame, the money, the Olympia titles went after Phil Heath because it was just a new thing. The internet was a new thing. Jay Cutler didn't suffer that. Ronnie Coleman didn't suffer that. No other bodybuilder in the history of bodybuilding suffered that type of scrutiny. And unfortunately, it's something that now bodybuilders have to deal with. You have to deal with the haters that don't have anything to do with our lives, okay? And they have a subscription to all the porn channels and they can't make $1 and they go there and they just click on and they go, oh, I hate Phil Heath, his arms are small and this and that. So absolutely, he's been unappreciated.
Chris?
Yes.
You were in the competition days before haters, or your haters had to get in your face. What was it like before social media?
It was just a lot of fans. You actually got a lot of letters in the mail, and you got a lot of from different fans all around the world, which was great. So you had pen pals going back and forth. Also, you got a lot of people coming to see you because there was no other way. So now it's just different. A lot of people think they can have a hand in saying, something about your career or how you going about your career business of bodybuilding. But like Tarek said, being the Mr. Olympia that had to deal with the first barrage of people coming at you in your DMs and all that stuff. I mean, it's got to be hectic to deal with, and he dealt with it the way he saw fit, and I feel like. Probably could have done a couple little things differently to not go at him, but he was going at him, coming out of a win, and he's mentioning some of the guys that was giving him shit on camera. So he just come out and win, and he's got this guy on his mind. I told you, that type of shit. So, that's I probably did something a little different, but he did his thing. He did his thing. No one can ever take that away from him. He is Mr. Olympia.
A lot of times.
And a lot of times. So he had nothing to be ashamed about. But
what can he do to remedy this? Now, in your later years, we're looking forward to having Phil on the show and finding out what he's up to now and what the future holds. What can he do now and capitalize on that? Do you need to rehab your image? I mean, you're 7-time Mr. Olympia.
Just be more, just talk to him more. Talk to the people more. Get out there to the shows more. He's going to be commentating at the Mr. Olympia. That's a start. Being more involved with with the competitors of today. being a big brother and a mentor.
Well, I'll tell you, man, I'm excited to see him because all these people that said negative things about Phil Heath, who's probably one of the greatest bodybuilders of all times. If you look at his physique, I think it was 2013 or 2011, it was like incredible, maybe the greatest physique we've ever seen. And people forgot about his great arms, his back double biceps, and forgot about everything and just started focusing on his midsection. And if I was him commentating, I would destroy everybody's midsection on that pay-per-view. I would be telling Bob Ciccarello, freaking gut looks huge. That's what you need to be saying, Phil. It's your time to get back at all these little guys that said negative things about you. Get on that mic and destroy them at the pay-per-view. It's your chance to get back at them.
I'm going to be next to Phil in the booth for that. I am going to put that in my phone as a note and say, hey, Phil, Derek wants you to talk about everybody's gut.
Yeah.
Go after him.
And let me, Chris is absolutely right. Maybe Phil at times didn't react the best way. And that event comes to mind. He won his 7th title. And he was so upset that he got his phone and started talking about this troll on the internet. And a lot of people are going to look at that moment and say, Phil could have done better. And I think Phil himself would have said, yes, I was so pissed I won and I just wanted to get back at these guys attacking me. But I give him credit because he tried very hard to deal with a situation that none of us dealt with, right? Even as judges. The judges in the 60s and the 70s didn't get attacked on social media. I get attacked. Chris can get a DM right now. People say negative things about his family. Could you imagine Mr. Olympia, the kind of DMs you're getting and attacks that you see on YouTube when you're actually the best in the world? I think he's highly unappreciated. People forgot to love Phil Heath, and we love the backup quarterback, right? We love the backup quarterback. We can't stand to see Tom Brady winning over and over again. We just want to destroy him and see somebody else coming. People forget that when Ronnie Coleman was winning all those titles, all we could hear is Jay Cutler, right? And then Jay Cutler wins, then all we could hear is who's going to take him down. We just love the backup quarterback. Phil, you're phenomenal, and get back at these guys on your pay-per-view, destroy them and talk about their physique, annihilate every single one of them.
Now, I've seen Chris's DMs. I didn't have my glasses on to read what they were saying, but I think it was a lot of figure and bikini competitors asking for advice. Is that what those were?
No, but as Tarek said, back in the day, I did deal with that when the internet was just coming around, like GetBig.com was, the forums was very popular back in the day. I got on there, hey guys, blah, 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 this is Chris calling. They started talking about my kid's mom and all this shit. So I kind of backed out right away. Okay, this ain't for me because I can't reach through the keyboard and just smack somebody. So
I think it was Mike Tyson that said people on the internet have gotten too accustomed to saying things without getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah,
it is just
gangsters.
The keyboard gangsters, the chairborne warriors. That think
never
about that before
anything.
you say something. They've never done anything. If you want to prove something, get on stage next to Phil Heath or Nick Walker or Hunter Labrada. You get in that kind of shape and you get up there. If you want to have your own show, if you have a problem with hosts, I get my fair share. I've learned not to Google myself, not in front of people. I have learned don't get involved. Don't snap back at people because it never has a good repercussion.
Well, a lot of times these guys have a bad day or they're unhappy with their lives and they go in and they type in, Phil Heath doesn't look good. Well, let me tell you, you don't look good, okay? You don't look good, okay? So before you criticize Phil Heath, look at yourself and say, come on, can I do better than him? And I feel for Phil Heath because this guy is 7-time Mr. Olympia. You don't win 7 times if you're not an incredible physique. And people in the internet, if you really want to be respected, go on the internet and throw in a compliment before you criticize. You can criticize anybody, but to dismiss the fact that these guys are unbelievable athletes is disrespectful and takes credibility. I have some people in the internet that they're actually logical. We respect their opinions, but if you're just a fool writing bad things about Nick Walker, Hunter Labrada, and Blessing, I'm sorry. It's as easy as just blocking your ass.
Okay, the prompter never lies. We talk about being just the facts here on the show on Primetime Muscle. Chris, Do you have a Mike Tyson story?
No.
Did I get too close to home when I talked about Tyson?
No, just I used to work at Roxbury nightclub before my bodybuilding career really took off. I was getting ready for the Mr. USA at the time. Mike was the champion of the world at the time, and they came to the club. I got introduced to Mike that night, and also maybe 4 or 5, 6, 7 times after this event happened. He never seemed to remember me at all, but anyway. I don't think I have a face that's too.
No, I would remember.
Yeah, you remember this face, right?
You're not very relevant, Chris. Let me tell you.
Belushi, stop. Because I was right next door to.
At least people can say I look like Joe Belushi.
Oh, at
John
Chateau
Belushi.
Marmont.
Chateau Marmont. That's where you had your final party. But anyway, so I'm standing there talking to a girl. There was a Rolls Royce, 2 Harleys, and a limo. And he had maybe 20 guys with him. So I'm standing there by it, and I feel this big smack right in the back of the head. That right there felt like someone hit me with a brick. So I turned around like, mothers. I don't know if I can say that, but mother effer. So at least I called him mother effer to his face. So that was pretty cool. But I turned around and it was Mike, and he was like, he told me to do it. To the guy next to him. Sorry about that. But then I said, this mother effer. And I was ready to go. I'm ready to go. And then he said, well, what you want to do? He started going like this to me, coming towards me. And I'm backing up, so I'm thinking what am I going to do? I wrestled at Cal State Bakersfield, Go Roadrunners. But so I had a little in me to out of my, I could do something, but he had all these guys with him. Flex and Rico was just, in the distance, and they wasn't going to get there in time.
But it did click at some point. This is Mike Tyson. Probably not a great.
Tim, this guy has been on drugs since 1992. He doesn't know. He doesn't know if he's fighting Mike Tyson or if he's fighting Bill Cosby.
Put the camera on this, man.
I guarantee you, Chris was high during this event. I guarantee you.
Dude, I was working at the club.
I guarantee you.
Does it look like John Belushi?
Well, we're looking forward to having, please follow the show, subscribe to Primetime Muscle, new episodes every Friday night. We're going to really be excited to have Phil Heath as part of our Olympia pay-per-view. I believe it's OlympiaProductions.com. And that is, of course, if you can't make it live to the Olympia, December 16th to the 18th at the beautiful Zappos Theater, Planet Hollywood, Las Vegas. Chris?
I'll be there.
You'll be there. Tarek, where are you judging?
I'll be judging the event, and I'll tell you, Phil Heath, he's going to come after everybody's midsection, including mine, Chris, Bob Ciccarelli.
I'm going to be in shape.
You're going to pass the test, man. I got to get on a diet because Phil's going to come on fire. He's going to let his anger go.
I'm getting on a diet. You've never seen your abs before.
All right. With that, we will see you next time on Primetime Muscle.